Warm welcome, dear Rishad, dear Madonna, dear Joy, dear Joseph Saheb. Hello.
Hello, Nesli.
We
Hello.
are from each other many things. I appreciate all of you. Can you hear me?
Yep.
Yep. Loud and clear.
Yes, loud and clear.
So good. Okay. And we are talking about exponential growth and leadership. We are learning from each guest and many things from each other. We will learn today many things, but first of all, I will kindly suggest Mr. Yavuz to talk. Then we will start with Rishad. Mr. Yavuz, would you like to share your thoughts with us? Then we will start.
I would just like to thank all of our great volunteer speakers. They are ready to share their experiences and their knowledge, what they have in their hands and in their hearts. I would like to thank all of them. Also, I would like to thank all of our audiences that they are ready to listen and to watch us. We are living in very difficult times. We are losing friends, neighbors, relatives. It is so difficult time. We need to come together as a family. All we need to have to be like one unity. We need to share what we have in our hands to see better world. For this case, I want to thanks to all of them. Thank you very much. Also to Nestle, you have great contributions to create this summit together, and also for Lorraine, she has great contributions. Thank you so much.
Thank you. And I see Madonna. Hi, dearest Madonna. Warm welcome. And yes, we will wait some guests, but first of all, I see dear Joy. Maybe we can start with you if you are available. Then we can keep going with Rishad because maybe he will join us in a few minutes.
I'm here, Nesli. I'm here. Oh. I can't switch on my video from my side.
Yeah, same with me. Same with me. The host needs to allow permission.
Uh-huh.
You have to turn it on.
So is
okay,
that?
There we go. Yeah, that's better. Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
There we go.
So, dear, we can start with you, and dear Joseph Saheb, Youssef, warm welcome. I appreciate all of you so much.
Likewise, Nesli.
Joy, if you wanted to start with Joy, you're welcome to do that as well, Nesli, as you prefer, whatever you like.
No, I'm fine, Rishad. I'll go after you. I didn't want to be the guinea pig.
Thanks very much. Nice to see all of you guys, my LinkedIn fans. And Nesli, for hosting such a wonderful system as well. I know there's a lot that goes behind the scenes. YAVUZ as well. Thank you very much for doing this wonderful event.
Thank you so much.
Right.
We had beginning some technical issues, and also for speaker sites, some of them they have technical issues to come online summit. As we see, this is the first we are experiencing with the NESLIHAN and with our team. It has some difficulties that we don't expect coming in front of us in any second. Thank you so much for your contributions and to support our summit. It is great honor for us for all speakers. Yes.
Thank you. And then we can start with Rishad. And dear, my brother, I learned from you many things. I appreciate you. You always supported me whenever I feel a voice of God. you reached me and you sent some messages like God's voice. That's why I appreciate you so much, and you know this. Thank you for everything you do. And
Well, you're very welcome, Nestle. Your humility is always outstanding. As far as I'm concerned, you've done a lot more for me and for everyone on this group than I've done for you. But I appreciate your humility and I receive your compliments as well. Thank you for the incredible support throughout my journey. You've been there from the beginning and recognized me from my 1,000 followers and encouraged me all the way up to 65,000 followers. So I'm very blessed to be to be there, but I couldn't have done it without you and all these other wonderful people on the team as well. So thank you very much, Nestle.
you are welcome. It's my honor. We learn each other.
Absolutely.
We are carrying our hearts, and we will live during our heart's beats. When our hearts stop, our lives will stop.
Yeah.
That's why I appreciate you, because you always encourage us to listen to our hearts.
Yeah.
And you're a heart-centered coach, Zen coach.
Yeah.
And also you are a business leader.
Yeah.
You have impressive experiences and you lead many teams. So that I am curious how you decided to be a coach, especially a Zen coach.
Yeah, that's a very good question. People ask me, how did my company be called Zen Coach in the first place? So, as you know, I've come from a very serious business background. My family, some of them are tuning in, are also very serious business people, and business is in our blood. And making money, which is this weird thing when you think about it, but that's what we do. We make money. But I realized at some particular point that when you make money, you have to do something with it. Otherwise, what's the point? Making money for the sake of making money. It has to be to enjoy your life or to contribute or something like that. It has to move beyond that. And so I continued with my business, but I said, the world wasn't making sense before COVID. The world was getting crazy. We see, artificial escalation of economies. We see, inflation and debt and all these other types of things that we never had before. And so for me, I was trying to quantify, how does this world make sense? We have, like right now, the Dow Jones is 30,000 points, right? Which is the highest it's ever been in history. How can that be when we've got an epidemic on our hands, a pandemic in our hands, and we've got 20 million people in the US unemployed? That's just in the US. So if we look at it, things don't make sense. So for me, the reason why I became the life coach and a heart-based leadership coach is I said, in order for the world to make sense, and right now more than ever, is about going within. It's to go into the center of knowledge, and all the great mystics, all the great people who are in tune with ancient cultures know that the heart is the seat of knowledge. And in fact, Aristotle said that the heart has all the knowledge. Avicenna, who we know very well as well, the founding father of modern day medicine as well, spoke about the heart being the most superior of all organs. So in fact, the heart can think, the heart can feel. The heart's magnetic field is 60 times stronger than the brain's, which means that we need to tune into the heart in order for us to make sense of the world that we live in today. And so for me, leaders were all about numbers, and so was I. It's all about pushing numbers, about meeting targets, about basically fueling this industrial machinery. And I said, my heart was feeling empty. My heart was literally getting empty, and the feeling. We can only talk about feeling. And I said, you know what? There has to be more to life than us just pushing numbers and making money. It's more about, let's get heart-centered. Let's tune in with this organ that knows so much. Now science is proving what Aristotle, Avicenna, and all the greats, Lao Tzu, the ancient yogis, all the ancient mystics knew, is that if the heart is out of tune, then the body is out of tune. And if you think about it from a global perspective, right, this whole world is out of tune. I mean, there's no way you can say things make sense out there. So the Sufis say, when things don't make sense out here, go within. So if we go within, things start to tune in. And for me, the heart is the organ that beats, and the beat is controlled by the breath. So if you want to access the heart, we do that through the breath. And when you control your breathing, I start and you've been to some of my group sessions, Nestle, I start all my sessions with deep breathing in order to bring calm, to bring collectiveness. And when I go into a team building session, when corporates get me in, I say, right, guys, put everything down. First thing we're going to do is breathe, because then when we're in tune with our breath, we're in tune with our hearts, and the knowledge can arise from within. And that knowledge that arises from within is always compassionate. It's always empathetic. It's always kind. It's never fear, numbers, panic, and all the rest of it. Right now, we're in a panic pandemic, which is panic has taken over the world, and rightfully so. We're losing people. People are dying, and it's all pretty nasty out there. So how do we make sense out of it all? We can't look at more numbers and more statistics and say, how do we improve this? We've got to go within, and also the world is a reflection of our state of being. So I always say, you get the leader that the people deserve. So if the people want a new leader, then they need to become a new person. And so other countries have got excellent leaders as well. But we need to do the same thing, to look at our lives and say, I always tell people that come and see me for coaching saying, life doesn't make sense. I say, pause and ask yourself, were you going the way you were supposed to go before the pandemic? And do you want to change directions and go another way? In other words, not just about making money, not just about furthering your career, but contributing to the planet around you. And if you can make money and contribute, and this is Steve Jobs, this is Apple, this is Google, and all these types of companies that put their people first. It's not about numbers first. The numbers will always come. They always come. And you guys being Turkish, the Turks are an incredible example on the worldwide stage of resilience, of people that put their people first in so many different ways. And I remember this project, one of my side projects was the honey project to do with bees. And Turkey was the role model. So Turkey invested $2 million in bee production and honey production, something like 20 years ago. Now they lead the global stage on honey production. And they're now teaching other people all over the world, because they said they realized how important bees were to the planet and invested in that. And the other thing is that community that's doing so well in Turkey, and this is the model for the world, is now planting trees. They're planting almond trees, olive groves, in order to sustain communities. And they're self-sustaining communities. Now they're going further out and helping other communities. And that's wonderful. It's not like, it doesn't mean, to be a mystic means to abandon the world. In fact, no, it's to say, let's work in harmony with the world. So my whole coaching is about working in harmony, being in synergy with nature, working together, collaboration. And I talk about this thing called emergence. Emergence is a type of leadership that is not single leader focused. The team come together in order to lead a particular concept or a particular project. You see it in nature. When you get a flock of birds, they're flying, and all of a sudden, they go in another direction. Now, what caused that direction to happen? Was it one particular person? If you look at a school of fish, and they're going around and they see a dolphin coming, how do they move instinctively like that? There's no thinking going on. And this is the developing sign of emergence. And the way that you can develop this absolute connectedness is through our heart center. So when the heart is connected, when our heart, how people say, when our hearts are connected, we can do a lot. But if we're just left brain, right brain, left brain, right brain, we're not getting anywhere. We're just getting into the zone of fear, of ego, of numbers. And I believe that and it's not just about love, it's about collaboration, it's about empathy, it's about working together. And Simon Sinek, who I have a lot of respect for, is a wonderful example of this, talking about the compassionate leader, someone that is more concerned about, leaders eat last, right? It's that they don't eat first, like you, Nesli, and you, Yavuz, you're putting everybody else on the stage. And I don't know if you've had your lunch, but I think you should have your lunch, Nesli.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. What I see, you are putting the heart at the center.
Yes.
We must come from our ancestors or from our tradition.
Yes.
We lost our hearts.
Yes.
As a society, as a human being, as a mankind, each individual. That's why we are totally destroyed in terms of emotions, feelings. We couldn't be able to get test of life. Because as a human being, we need to share, we need to contribute. And this only could be with putting the heart at the center.
Absolutely.
Right? to get this relationship better and better, so we have to work too hard how to be much more purified way, and how we can add more contribution.
Absolutely.
Of course, it is not easy. It needs to give, to help, to share. But and at the end, like Prophet Abraham said, the happiness is coming to gain and to share what you gain. If you can be able to share, you can get your happiness. But today, we are living much more individualistic side.
Yes.
Just like our superego and a me.
Yeah.
And because of, since we are seeing ourselves like me, we are putting like instead of God. So it is like totally against of our creation.
Absolutely.
Our creation is based on what we love, what we contribute, what we share. Thank you so much contributions to our summit. Just we are looking in this summit to help someone who needs most, because maybe we need most. Maybe we are helping to ourselves when we're trying to help to others.
No, absolutely. You understood it perfectly well. And, you know, being another great example of that is the man who's buried in your blessed city, in your blessed country in Konya, is Jalaluddin Rumi, Maulana Jalaluddin Rumi, who always, it was the only thing that made sense to me. And I'll give you a prime example. If I ask you, where are you? Everyone would say, here. Nobody says, I'm here, right? Because your identity is actually here. Your heart is your identity. Yes, we walk around saying, who are you? Oh, I'm Rishad. No, you're here. This is who you are. And you know, in the Turkish tradition, everybody who's in Ertugrul can attest to this, right? Hey, well, right, it was here, right? Because that's where it is. It's never, there's no culture where the guy goes, you know, I'm Rishad. No, it's always, you know, and so the heart has always been. And when we use an example, we say, we learn something by heart. What does that mean? We learn something by heart. Where are you learning it? Because actually, every single knowledge that you ever want to encounter is stored in your heart. And for me, some of my fans call me the key maker, because for me, it's about opening up the heart in order for us to produce this magic to change the planet. And we're not talking about sort of, just eating vegetable food, which is great. I love vegetables, but it's about actually taking our economies, and you mentioned it so nicely, it's against nature. So in Latin, they say contra naturam, which is everything that's against nature, and growth that is not in any way measurable and sustainable, like we see the Dow Jones and all these other stock markets exponentially increasing, but there's no basis. Since your event is about exponential growth, the exponential growth has to be built upon a solid foundation, and that solid foundation is people before profits. And if you can work with that, then you can build something that is sustainable for life. And one of the examples about the Japanese is the Japanese through the COVID, they've managed to sustain themselves so well. It's because they've built a solid foundation that's built on higher principles. It wasn't, let's see how much money we can make, and then, you know, exit when we saw 2008, when everybody just wanted to bail out. And if we can bring this new exponential growth to modern day economies and finance, YAVUZ and Nestle, in what you're doing, I'm all for it, and your greatest supporter. So thank you. I don't want to take up too much of the other guests as well, waiting to speak.
All we are family. There is no differences between us. Some of our friends from Canada, France, United States, China. Just we need to understand in this world, we are together. Yeah. If we can move better and better together, we can create better future for our kids, for our next generation. Definitely. Because at the end of the day, nothing will be stay with us. Just what legacy we have, we can go with it. Thank you very much for your explanation. Heart-centered organization. I didn't hear before. This is very good metaphor to use inside the company for many business people. I think it will be contribute to them. Because when you put heart at the center of organization, you can create relationship better. You can create your environment better. If you family life, and which we forget to our values, you can bring it back. Because when you share, when you put the love at the center of anything, anything can change. Even a stone can change. Thank you so much for your contribution.
Very welcome. Very welcome. Thank you.
And you're Rumi lovers. We are Rumi lovers. We are Sufi believers also with you, Rishad.
Yeah.
There are many Sufi believers, Sufi lovers also. For LinkedIn, we met. And I wanted to ask you, you have many tools you suggest people. You are making some free coaching sessions to control our breath, to meet with our inner wisdom, inner
Yeah.
being. So, as leaders, as youth, and all human beings, what do you suggest us to be better human and to live better in our lives with your experiences and with your suggestions? I wanted to ask your opinions, your thoughts.
Okay, well, I definitely, as you know, you've attended some of my, I'm offering right now during the COVID time, free coaching sessions. So I'm offering anyone that wants to join. We do it via Google Meet every Saturday, and we didn't do it this Saturday because we were honored to receive your invite, but there's over 20 people every Saturday. I teach you how to get into a state of stillness, how to watch your breath, and how to gain into your intuition. And then from there, then you decide. So for me, I don't come in with the answers. So an organization would call me up saying, can you help us? I say, I can't help you solve your problem, but I can help you how to find that problem within yourself. So it's what I do is suggestion, tuning your heart and tuning your heart, or we call it heart-brain coherence, which means that your brain and your heart, you know how some people say, there's a part of me that doesn't want to do it and another part of me that does. That's a contradiction between what your heart wants to do and what your brain wants to do. And you can get the two aligned, which means that get your organization aligned with the heart and get the planet aligned with the heart, then what you're going to say will naturally flow in that particular way. So for me, my suggestion is, and I don't have all the answers, but I know the answers are not out there because we've tried that. And if we look at how we come to conclusions, it's flawed. So I investigated this, I looked into it. If we look at modern day scientific inquiry, it started with Sir Isaac Newton 300 years ago. And that's how we've come to the conclusion about our lives. But that's not how our hearts decide. You know how you just say, my heart's not in it? Because it's not in it. And you can put all the facts on the table, you know? So my brother is the spreadsheet guy. He takes the spreadsheet out and he says, I want to buy this car, Toyota Corolla, 4 seats, got the room for the family or whatever. And for me, I'm like, just buy the Mercedes. He's like, no, but Rishad, you're not being rational and common sense. Right? I said, but rational and common sense never got me anywhere, right? So if it's not impractical, I'll drive the Mercedes-Benz. So you have to go beyond this. Just one last example of my blessed mother, may she rest in peace in heaven. I had almost no money and I was in a very tough situation here in Cape Town. And I called her up and I said, Mom, there's one house that the rent is 6,000 and the other house, the rent is 6,500, but I don't know which one to take. She said, which one do you like? I said, the one for 6,500. She says, do you have the money to pay 6,000? I said, no. She said, then take the one for 6,500. I said, where's your logic in this? Where's your logic? She said, go with your heart. You can't afford the one for 6,000. Take the one for 6,500. So you see, on a practical level, it doesn't make sense. But you know what? It was the best decision I ever made. And guess what? I found more than 6,500 to pay the bill. So I'm so glad I listened to Mom. So guys, your mom knows that intuition of a woman, when she tells you something, listen to it because Mom knows best. So Leslie, I'm going to leave it there for the rest of our wonderful guests to and hosts to share their wisdom as well. Some great people on here as well.
Rishad, I have a quick question.
Yes.
I'm very curious about when you actually realize you're moving from coaching to transformation of business and transforming people. When did you start feeling that?
When my life didn't make sense anymore, and it's a very good question. So I've been a mentor, you know, and an investor, and you know, helping small companies to get to the particular point. And my life was not making sense because I would sit the people down and say, right, guys, are we making money here? How much? What's the numbers? And I said, you know what? like being in sales, they say KPIs kill people. So when you just about hitting that KPI, hitting that next number, your life starts getting empty. And I said, so I had to go through a personal crisis, as they call it, a dark night of the soul, where I had to question my own reason to live. Joy and Yusuf, we've both had conversations with the two of you, blessed human beings, and they've been on the same kind of journey. You hit that point when you're very lucky that God, the universe, whatever, put your head against a brick wall, and either a major illness, relationship breaking down, or losing a job, and you say, life doesn't make sense. And I say, now is when you come talk to me, because you know what? Life never made sense. Because everything was working, you thought life made sense. But when God put you against the brick wall, you're like, well, and I'm going to tell you, that's not what life is about. Life is about something else. And so, yes, there was that point a few years ago, and I was very blessed to meet a coach of my own who managed to let me see, because I said, listen, I'm the motivational guy. I've read every book on personal transformation. I know everything. Yet I didn't. And he said, okay, good. You know everything. Let's go through the process. And I was like, my God, couldn't sleep at night, unhappy, grumpy, angry, all that wonderful thing that all our corporate people get. And so you asked, excellent question. And that's the real reason. The dark night of the soul is what led me to this business, the business of the soul.
So you start with your self-transformation with great people that actually helped you start transforming businesses and other people. Thank you so much. It's really inspirational. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you for the time as well. I appreciate it. Thank you to the rest of the hosts as well.
And I want to ask also a question regarding with our future generations. Would you please share your thoughts with us how to find solutions to leave an impressive legacy for future generations, and what do you suggest them to be better human beings, to, especially nowadays we are living in a lockdown environment, how they can be more motivated in that. It is not only for future generations, but also for all of us.
Yeah. All right. Well, if the other people will allow me, I'll be brief. So when lockdown happened, I said, this is God giving us a retreat. When you book yourself on a yoga retreat and you go to India and you spend 7 days doing nothing but eating healthy food and taking in fresh air and asking yourself, what am I doing here on the planet? I said, this is God saying, all of you are going on retreat. Nobody's an exception. All of you. And it's like the whole world. Yes, the whole world is locked down in their own homes, right? Because so one of my clients is a top-notch investment banker, and he lost his job, and he said, my wife can't stand me because she's just seeing me at home all the time. I gotta leave. And I said, you know what? I'm so glad this happened now. Then when you went into retirement, thinking that you're going to retire to this, your whole family was collapsing while 20 years you were flying all over the world being a corporate banker, right? You didn't look at your wife and your children. Now your child is 22, and you're like, who is this chap? That's your child, right? So now you'll find problems have gone up. You can't get along with your people. I know my daughters, I've got 4 daughters, and I'm like, you guys can get really irritating, because I'm always on the road, right? Let's be honest. And then I said, okay, Rishad, you're not going anywhere. You can't go anywhere. So stay here. And you know what? I developed these tools, and that's why I provided the free coaching. So I'm saying for future generations, guys, right now, I believe this is the start of 2 things. One, a major change in how we do things in the world today. But number 2, there is on the opposing side, a universal rising in consciousness, which means that if you look at the amount of gurus, Sufis, mystics, people like Eckhart Tolle, people like Rupert Spira, who I've encountered recently, there is, and of course in Turkey I absolutely adore for the history and all the culture, the Chinese culture. We got to go back to our roots, connect to our hearts, and connect to our breath, and don't try to make sense of this craziness out there, because it never did, right? You have to go within. So I'm saying to the future generations, let's see if we can rise in consciousness so that we don't keep on repeating the same patterns, the same pain, the same agony. You must remember that the modern day economy, the US economy, we're talking about 200-300 years. We're not talking about life. I mean, life has been on the planet for, you know, humans have been around, Homo sapiens in their form for 350 million years, right? 350,000 years, excuse me. There's big numbers. So life has changed dramatically, but in the modern day economy of the US dollar, the Turkish lira, and all the rest of it, this is not life. Life is about those simple things, your family, your friends, your God, your soul. And those things we have to go back. And I'm not talking about religion. Please don't get me wrong. I'm not saying we need to become good Christians, good Buddhists, good Muslims. That's up to you. But I'm saying we've got to become human again, connect to our humanness through our heart center. And all religions that are divinely inspired say the same thing. So go back to your soul and ask yourself one question. If life is happening in my favor, as Rumi so beautifully says, he says, life is rigged in your favor. So if I say that I'm being born in this time with this madness, it means that I'm here for a particular purpose. There is no randomness in the universe. You don't just get born by some act of some accident that happened. Why am I here? What am I supposed to contribute? And all these wonderful leaders here can attest to the same thing. What is my contribution on the planet? Because after you pay the bills, pay your mortgage, raise the family, what else is there? So I'm saying the sooner you can ask the question, the sooner you can start living from your heart rather than expectations. Is that all right, Leslie?
Yes, yes. Thank you, dear Rishad.
Thank you.
Many of my friends don't know yet Lorraine. And Lorraine has wonderful heart and caring person, especially job seekers and HR people. And maybe Lorraine can ask also a question to Rishad. Maybe then Rishad will leave because he has an urgency. Just wanted to introduce Lorraine, all of you.
Hi, Lorraine.
So glad meeting with her.
Nice
yes.
to meet you, Lorraine.
So do we have time for one more question, or is it time for you to?
I can do one more question. I'm just concerned about my other wonderful guest as well. But yeah, it's fine. I definitely, if the rest of the guests don't mind, I'm definitely able to answer another one. My
Thank
pleasure.
you very much. It's just what would be your first advice to the people, to the members of our audience who have lost their jobs or their business is not going well at the moment? How can they keep going and keep reaching to their next right move?
That's a very good question. Thank you for the question. I faced the same thing myself. So my coaching business was going quite well, and then COVID hit. So if you think about it, are people going to spend money on furnishing their house or keeping money for the rent because nobody knows what to do, or spending money on the coaching? And I said, what am I going to do with my life? So I went into my heart. I looked online, looked at what people were saying, and then I said, there's this wonderful thing that the Sufis say. He said, when something's not working, do the opposite. So I'm not going to give you rational advice here because there isn't a rational advice. So the irrational, the sole thing to do is, I found a business coach that I looked at, and he made a lot of sense. He says, in this time, it's not the time so this is business people advice. It's not the time for expansion. This is the time to consolidate, to maintain your existing customers, increase relationships, make sure that when they have money again, you're the first person that they're going to call. So it's about establishing relationships. But the most profound advice he gave that blew me away and really aligned with my heart, he said, give, and give so much that it hurts. And I said, but that's crazy, because right now we're like holding on to everything, and we know, and it doesn't make any sense. But when you give, you get. And so for me, it was then, I said, free coaching, free advice. I increased the amount of, because I do one day a week of free coaching, 2 days a week of free coaching. And I don't care now, what am I going to do? Because if I keep on holding on to the ship, so, Eckhart Tolle says that resisting life is one of the most mad things you can do, because can you resist life? So life has thrown you with this thing. Now you have two choices. One, you let go and let's see where the stream takes you. Or two, I'm holding on, but you can't resist life. Life will happen whether you want it or not. So that was my advice for business people. And you know what? Those people that ended up coming to the free coaching, I had a 70% sign-up rate. So, I mean, I can't even explain that. It blew my mind. So you know, by doing that, it paid more dividends than me sort of holding on and saying, well, I'm not doing any free coaching. And, you know, it helped. And, you know, this is another proof of it. So this is one advice that you may use, but, you know, I don't know. I don't have all the answers. Listen to your heart. Tune into that. For job seekers that have lost their jobs, there is no other opportune time now than to discover other things that you can do. Recessions and depressions are the times that make the most millionaires. Go look at the US during the Great Depression. Look at the UK as well. It's not doom and gloom. It's about perspective. So if you look at it, you wanted to start your own business. Look at the online world. I mean, it's incredible opportunities. If it wasn't for online, as much as I don't like social media, look what's happening right here. This would never have happened any other way, right? And I didn't have to travel from Cape Town all the way to Istanbul or Malaysia or all the rest of it. So there's wonderful opportunities for you. But here's the last thing I'll end with. If you're trying to evaluate your opportunities and what you should do next from a level of fear, you're going to make the wrong decision. If there's a tiger chasing you and you say, what should I eat for dinner? You know, should I have salad or should I have steak? You say, I got no time for this. There's a tiger chasing me. So first of all, put yourself in a safe environment, close the doors, tune into your breath, listen to some music, and then take the piece of paper and out, write down the thoughts that you're feeling. And from a very high place, then start knowing that the life is working in your favor, then come up with an idea and a plan. And you don't have to know, as Rumi says so beautifully, when you take the first step, the path becomes clear. Don't go plan another 50 years of strategy. Take this first step from your heart and let the path disclose itself, knowing that you trust in the universe. You don't have any choice, because if you don't trust in the universe, you live with fear and anxiety. And if you just let go, as the Chinese say, flow like water. Water gets through everything eventually, right? Lorraine?
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you for the great question.
And thank you, dear Rishad, for being with us. I know even if you are so busy, you accepted my invitation. It's an honor for me to meet with you, to learn from you.
Thank you for all the guests for waiting as well. I appreciate that. And I will see all of you on LinkedIn. Have a wonderful rest of your seminar as well.
Thank you. Take care of you. Bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
And we are keep going with dear Joy. Warm welcome again. I love your name so much. You bring joy to us.
Thank you, Nestle. And Yavuz, it's a pleasure to be here. I think after the last 45 or 40 odd minutes of Brother Rishad, thank you for giving me the opportunity to follow him, because that man, that brother just spoke everything. I'm now literally thinking on my feet, which you can't see. And the reason for that is I'm going to shut my video for a minute, not a minute, just for 5 seconds, and then I'll come back. So you'll know, please see what's on my screensaver. In case you all got that. Brother Rishad ended with the alignment of the brain and the heart, and for the individual human being to approach from the heart. Yeah. What I'm bringing out, and it's been a 3-year journey, and he's right. He's absolutely right. It's, I don't think I've become a butterfly, and probably I might not, as you can see over here, but it's a 3-year journey that has led me to believe, after a 32-year corporate career, business has changed and is changing and has to change. It's not, for 90 years, we've done this logical, analytical, rational, commonsensical business growth. And I'm bringing something else to this table, because we talk exponential growth. Exponential growth does not happen until and unless you have growth spurts. So let me explain that for a quick minute, and I'll tie it back. If you look at children, those of us who are parents, who've had children from a newborn, the first 3 to 5 years, there are certain periods when a child grows literally exponentially in terms of brain and physical development.
Yes.
Business and human being is exactly the same thing. And why I agree with Brother Rishad that this scenario we are in, this pandemic, of course, if you want to give in to the chaos that is all around, the death that is occurring, the unknown that is creating stress, all of that is there. You can allow yourself to go into a downward spiral. But just pause. That's what it's done, right? It's locked us in. It's made us pause. It's made us revalue our priorities. And I'm not going to delve into that. But when you revalue that and you're coming out today,
Yes.
our behavior as an individual has changed. And this is where, as a marketing consultant, I've done corporate strategy and strategic marketing for 32.5 years of my life across 4 countries, and I've 8 industries. Today, I see that marketing and strategy, both business strategy and marketing, does not work if you come from a product perspective, if you come from a technology perspective, if you come from a price point. All of these are playing to the other person's rules. You've got to come from the perspective of people and a business. What is exponential strategy if there's no YAVUZ, there's no Nestle? What is it? It's nothing. It's just a name. It's in any business, that 2 words, human resource. For 90 years, we've been labeled as a resource. We are part of the IT. We are part of fixed assets. We are part of investment. But actually, there's a little bit more. And this is where it connects to Brother Rishad's individual heart. People are emotional creatures. For 350,000, we've existed from the time we couldn't speak and we used to draw in caves to right now where we are communicating via AI. AI gives you speech recognition, right? People feel first, then rationalize. When they feel first, they're already taking action. And this is where I'm bringing in to my clients and to the circle that I impact to say, humanize your business. When you humanize your business, when you bring your people to the front, your employees and your customers, you'll suddenly find a common, if you look at it from that perspective, you'll find a convergence point, a point where 2 things come up as common denominators: hopes and aspirations. Out of the 7 billion people in this world, irrespective of where we are by whatever parameters, we could be rich, poor, millionaire, billionaire, on the internet, below the poverty line, doesn't matter. But every single living human being will have hope. Hope is what keeps us going from day to day, time to time. And each one of us has aspirations, irrespective whether we are 7 years old, 10 years old, 30 years old, 50 years old, 90 years old. We are always hopeful and we are optimistic because our hope comes from our heart. Our heart is the one that is in sync with the universal energy, which always says tomorrow's better. Give it one more try. So pull this all back together. What COVID's done is COVID has made the world, and I look at the commercial world. I'm not a coach. I'm not a business mentor. I focus purely on commercials for a business. But today when a business comes, a client comes to me and says, I want to grow by 27%, 30%. I said, thank you very much. You're talking to the wrong guy. You want to grow at a certain percentage, which we will have to figure out. I don't know if the percentage is right. I'm not looking at your Excel. I'm looking at your people, but we will work together for 16 weeks. We will build, operate, and I'll transfer the process to you. And then you see how sustainable it is. You look at your people, you build a community where your employees become your brand ambassadors / advocates. You don't pay $5 million to the next celebrity to talk about your brand because it does nothing. Nobody believes in it. I'm sorry. I'm a marketing guy. I'm saying it live. It's my own version from the data that I have. So when an employee talks, Lorraine sitting far away looks at Joy speaking on behalf of humanizing business and say, hey, he's working there. Hey, he's doing this work. He's writing the strategy and He's tweeting, today XYZ happened with HB. Hey, that makes sense. I want to have a word with him. Stage 2, intention of engagement happens. A conversation takes place. Stage 3, make that relationship stronger. Create that conversation to give value to Lorraine. You don't look at, hey, I want Lorraine to buy me, give me my $6,000 process fee, and boom, I'm gone. That's a transaction. You're going to run out of breath, and you're not going to be able to get your company to scale because you're going to be constantly firefighting to get your numbers. On the other hand, you go back to the old Pareto principle. Look at 20% of your clients, grow those clients, nurture those clients, just like, ladies, pardon me, might be a wrong analogy. When you are pregnant, you nurture the baby for 9 months before the baby is born. And then you nurture your child as a parent for 20 years or 18 years before the child leaves the nest. The same thing today operates in business. You nurture your clients through your employees. Everything else are tools, technology, platforms, communication. Everything else is tools. And this is where leadership comes into play. After 32 years in corporate across industries, we are not going to become a communal leadership structure. That's still a little bit away. We are still top down. So how the leader engages, appreciates, recognizes, and to use my brother Saheb's words, how the leader cares, and he'll explain it when he talks about care as an acronym, becomes what you do as the number 2. And slowly, when you see somebody doing something, you repeat. Think back to the parental home model. Our children model us. There are a lot of literature available to say why a father figure is very important, why a mother figure is very important. I'm not going to get into the debate about those roles, but as employees look at their managers and their superiors, there is a behavior that happens during that 9 to 5, if I may say. Today, it's changed because we are working weird hours. We are working online. It makes the leadership that much more important to get in touch and say, like Nestle reached out and said, and I said, I love Nestle. And I said, I'd be happy to jump into this. It's the trust. It's the relationship that gets translated externally. So in jargon, in marketing, we'd say employee experience becomes the customer experience. You don't have 2 parallel different programs with different touch points and different concocted stuff, which is not what you are. Be real. So 3 things come in here. When you humanize your business, you've got to talk. It's about your heart. You've got to be open about that conversation. So if you're uncomfortable about it, time to go and get some help to find out empathy and collaborative nature. I myself, I'm poor on empathy. It's taken me years to learn and have team members to help me understand the empathy factor in a team. And I'm being open about it. You know, my brother here, Saheb, and I work together. His empathy quotient is way up there. I rely on him in our partnership. Together we work on it. So when a leader takes that approach, it creates a safe environment for the team. Once you're in a safe environment, to echo brother Rishad, you can sit down calmly and say, this is going to be beneficial. You then identify the real value. The real value is not as a business in your product, your technology, your price, your advertising, or your distribution. The real value is in people. The real value is actually in the culture that you create, that your business and your brand represent, how it actually benefits the community. And here by community, I don't mean our day-to-day society, but I mean the business and the brand's community of employees and partners and vendors and customers. That's the world that the brand and the business of that brand is operating in. If each business, and that's my mission is to actually touch businesses, transform them gently to be human, to move away from an Excel spreadsheet, to approach it from the heart, to sit down and have conversations, literally have board meetings where people discuss how can our service, our product uplift our community. And then you bring in all the tech. You bring in who's your ideal customer? How do I get my sales dialogue going? How does the sales benefit? How do I forward sales? So let me give you an example from a supply chain client of mine based out of Dubai. New client, 3 years old, supply chain, very badly hit during COVID. In May, we sat down, and this is exactly the process we took it through. I said, can we just reach out to your current customers and ask them, how can we help? And you'd be surprised, the end result of that was today, that supply chain customer has an online dashboard bringing other providers onto that dashboard as delivering logistics. His clients and other clients are just coming onto his service to sign on logistics providers to distribute goods. He earns a management fee. Now, this is between May and now. So you can see it's about a 5-month process and it's still going on. But what happened here is the company that started as a pure fleet supply chain logistics company moved up a couple of levels to provide a supply chain service. Their business became from a physical service to an IT service, which is scalable, and the industry is getting more value, and the people connected to the industry is saying, we want to work with you. And because the two business owners actually went out and built their personal brand and started communicating, the clients approached them. I want to do work with YAVUZ. I know, I've heard what he's written, what he said. I want to talk to him. And we know this. People who know people work with people, or people buy from people, whichever way you want. So summing it up, business today, if you're going to continue business analytically, which is not wrong, but it's not going to get you the growth that you need, number one. And why I say this, 2 points. As people, we have become far more conscious on a different level than the consciousness Rishad spoke about. We've become conscious in our ability to filter out, pardon me for the French, bullshit and reality, right? We all know fake news and mainstream and this and that, but we have antennas that picks up real, personal, heart-oriented engagement. We gravitate. So if you take, just as an example, take any of your favorite social media channels that you tend to spend some time on, I would say 90 minutes to a couple of hours in your entire 16-hour day, you'll find that the community you work with or you interact most, and I'm saying you might have 500,000 followers or plus, but you'd be coming down to a handful of maybe 100, 150 people that you're 24/7 in touch with. You know exactly what is happening with them. What is that? That's your community. That's your tribe. That's your group that is like-minded, that reciprocates and appreciates you. You like being there. There's a good and bad in it both. I'm not going to get into that. But for business, that's where it's gone to. You have to create an environment where your employees like doing what they're doing. Because when you like doing what you're doing, you do more of it, number one. Number two, when you do more of it, you're actually advertising your employer brand. So you're bringing in the talent, you're attracting the talent, inbound marketing, as they would call it in my field. All right. On the customer side, the reality connects. They know that the conversation they're having is not with a bot. And I say this because I've worked with quite a few tech-based organizations in this past 8 months, including social listening and everything. And everybody's coming back to that one point, which is we need people in the organization to speak. And as a result, today, you have the Microsofts of the world and the Apples of the world, all the way down to solopreneurs and partnership businesses like ours, where the business owners are becoming the brand. They are representing it. So that's humanizing business. That's where the more you bring your humaneness, i.e. your heart, and you expose your heart, yeah, it's going to be broken. It's going to be stomped upon. Maybe even for the next 1 year, 6 out of 10 people are going to say, woo, woo, a lot of fluff. But hey, send them my way, because I turn fluff into data. I create insights. I write stories. And you can check it out on LinkedIn. That's my main channel. You'll get how to do, what to do, when to do. That's it. It's how business is going. And we will arrive at a point where, a lot of things like this, universal income, communal medical care, communal education, these will become, education, travel, hospitality, these are 3 industries I can see literally within 4 to 6 months is going to have a 180-degree shift. The way we've done education, I've got young kids in school, is going to fade away. Thank you, Nestle.
You're welcome. You're welcome. And you made wonderful opening, first of all. Thank you for that. And your suggestions are important for business leaders, entrepreneurs, and professionals. How we make strict policies in business development and marketing. Even if you told wonderful things, I would love to hear your thoughts, because we are feeling, all of us, like having a turbulence, and we are in a stormy weather. So that how we will overcome from this situation.
Joy,
One word. Sorry, Yavuz. Yes, go ahead.
Joy, one of the greatest presentation I have ever seen, humanizing side, and how to implement this humanizing side inside the company, putting center your employee, and again your employee reflects your customers, and from inside out and outside in. You described fantastic way. Thank you so much. You didn't give us space to ask anything.
No, please ask. I mean, no problem.
You draw pictures.
The program, sorry, I was to interrupt, but the program that I run with my clients, it is called Marketing Inside Out. Marketing is not an outside job. You'll see that on my profile. Everybody, I've worked, as I said, 32 years in marketing. And the perception is always, even in B school, I've been taught how to communicate. How do you make customers aware? What we don't realize, having worked across industries and teams, what you're doing and what you're feeling internally is actually the reaction. I mean, just imagine you wake up, and before you leave for work, in the days when we used to go out for work, your day doesn't start off the way it goes, you know. For some reason or the other, you get cranky or crabby, and you leave and you rush and you do your commute, you get to work, and then you're running 15 minutes late behind for a meeting. Your mind is frazzled. Your behavior is tense, agitated. So even on your immediate colleague, you are going to snap. It's a normal human reaction unless we are mindful of controlling ourselves and saying we have the choice. This is not bad. It's happened for a reason. Good. I'm 15 minutes late. Let me send a message. I'm late. Boom. Calm down, carry on. So the point here is that when Rishad said, go within to find yourself, right? In business, I'm asking business owners like ourselves and others running large companies, go within, because the strongest potential asset that you don't need to spend money because you've already spent money is sitting on your premises or sitting on your screens are your employees. There's two things that are required by leadership: appreciation, and the second thing is humility. Humility, let me just take a second here to explain. A leader is not supposed to know everything, because then you're not a leader, you're a boss. You're just bullying people to say, I'm superior to you, I know everything. So as a leader, if you say, I don't know, hey guys, Nestle, Lorraine, Youssef, can you help me here? What do you think we should do? You know, that ownership that suddenly comes in, that, oh, wow, okay, so my CEO is asking this. That is what I do. I have a 5-step process. It's marketing inside out. And at least, alhamdulillah, so far, by the work I've done, because I cannot work more than 4 clients at a time. I work on 16 weeks on a process called Build, Operate, Transfer. I've done for 7 clients over the last couple of years. And yeah, they've gone away, but they're all happy, hopefully. And I'm keeping my fingers crossed. I'm going to sign 2 of them back on just on the relationship. So if you focus your insights, every organization, what you're going to land up with is sustainable growth. Now, depending on the industry you're in, if you're in tech, you're going to have exponential, just like Zoom had, right? If you're in education and you get into it now, in 2 years, you're going to hit exponential growth. And I'm talking of growth from a financial measurement criteria. That's it.
I have a very quick question,
Please.
if I can. I'm very impressed with your presentation and also your background. I mean, you are a great teacher for me. That's how I look at it, especially the work you have done in Islamic finance. I know maybe we're deviating from the question, but during this crisis time, do you think economically the main pillars that are coming, like in a halal economy where interest free and not taking advantage of just making money out of money type of attitude, should be relooked by capitalism? And should there be a way, a value, Islamic, insurtech, Islamic fintechs, and other digital, entrepreneurs that we are always working with? Do you think they will come up with an answer in this day and age?
That was a great question. And please pin this on my name, because I'm going to go out on a limb over here. Let me start with the back, and then I'll come to the front, which is, will the entire halal and Islamic finance category find an answer? My answer to that right now, and it's a very cynical response, is no. The reason I say no is because the industry has spent 60 years, especially in Islamic finance. Halal, I personally have been involved in that industry for 12 years, and I have walked away, removed myself from that industry, being a Muslim and everything, and that's a separate story. But my answer is no for two reasons. For 60 years, we've not found a common ground, and we've not been able to give to the world something that is already available readily there. So if somebody's telling me that it cannot be coded, it cannot be provided, the effort is not going in. That's my perspective, personal perspective. One. Why? Because IF, Islamic finance, started up as the perspective was, can we have a parallel system to remove the interest component so that global ummah or the Muslim community can use these products? I think that perspective itself was wrong. The perspective should have been a financial system that allows for equitable distribution of profits. Then you're talking different, and then you go to Basel, go wherever. So that's Islamic finance. On halal, I think if we decide to agree, we've got a common standard. So, we might be having 4 schools and mazhabs and stuff like that, but it's actually, in my personal opinion, and it's just a personal opinion, it's man-made. Now, can we do it? Yes, definitely we can, because there's a lot of work which has been done in fashion, a lot of work which has been done. I'm leaving food out, but if you look at fashion, pharma, and tech, a lot is there. The only thing is, if you're expecting this to get the kind of exposures that a Google gets or a Microsoft gets or something, it's not going to happen because the control is not there. So it's again up to the business to grow their community. And this is where my humanizing business comes in. So the supply chain that I just gave the example from is one of those. It's working with an Islamic finance background. It's working with total halal lines out of Malaysia, out of Amsterdam, in shipping. It's working with a particular shipping line that is bringing together liners for food, pharma, and other containing over there. It's happening. It's not that it's not happening, but these are, as I would say, a little pebble on the ocean. When you throw a pebble, you can't even see the ripple, but it's happening. Sure. So if more of this gets together, and I have to say this to echo Brother Rishad, I think y'all in Turkey are sitting to take the lead, because the geographical location of Istanbul, the geographical location of Turkey as the bridge between Asia and Europe, you are at the point where you can bring this entire ummah together, this entire service conduit together. You're the convergence point. So perhaps, inshallah, the prayer and the hope is there's a lot of development out of Turkey. Something will happen. And what I'm doing is actually not new. It's not novel. It's not innovative. I have taken stuff, part out of my own theological and spiritual learnings, and part out of my professional experience to say, can business be done differently? And I'm seeing it works. That's it. That's simply it. So would we be able to fight against the biases and everything which is there? I don't think I'm qualified to answer that, Brother YAVUZ, because bias is something that we all individually carry. We have to recognize first ourselves. So in terms of steps, it would be, as a business owner, as a leader, as a communal leader, as a parent, whatever, if we understand we can better ourselves and we start doing that, and then we flow that to the people we are working with, our family, you arrive in 30 days, you'll arrive at an environment that is automatically becoming better than it was on Thursday, or it was better on Friday, on this Saturday. And when more of these little pods spring up, you know, the numbers come in. So you will, by process of data, you will arrive at a threshold where after you've hit 500,000 or, you know, 2.5 million, somewhere after that, the system will change. But the moment we apply labels like socialism, capitalism, Islamic finance, a lot of biases come up with those labels.
Sure.
So equitable is the word that I like. And I think no matter irrespective of where we are geographically, if business works within its community to be equitable, to make sure that it's not 92% to the stake shareholders and 5% to the company and 3% to the employees kind of a thing, we would be better off. However, greed is a different area to tackle. I'm being very, very particular here. A company, it can put its profits into reserves, put its profit into CSR, to use jargon, and actually uplift communities. And we will not have, I mean, all simple thing, just commit to one of the 30 UN Sustainable Development Goals. You know, take one of them, children development, hunger eradication, just take it. And then, so a company like Pfizer, for example, who's going to make millions, or Johnson & Johnson out of the COVID vaccine, let's say you just earmark 5 or 4% of that profit from that vaccine to go to agricultural development for, you know, high-tech agri products. And when you put that down, you bring a whole industry vertical, agri-tech, mechanized agriculture, better quality seeds, farming process. So suddenly there's an upliftment of the entire community from the farms all the way to the cities, to the people like us who are going to buy those organic products. Now you can bring in halal certification, organic certification, whatever you want in the process. But the value is the company that's doing that and says, Johnson says, if you take this vaccine, $10 goes to organic bread made by, you know, Brother Yousssef in Istanbul. I, as a customer, I'm going to say, wow, I'm going to buy this. I'm going to take this vaccine because I'm doing my bit. I can't give it somewhere, but $10 is going to go for organic bread. Now let me go and look for that organic bread because it's better for my health. Overall development happens. That's my long-winded explanation to the question you asked.
Thank you, Joe. You really gave me joy today. I can't thank you
Pleasure,
enough.
sir.
Thank you
Pleasure,
so much.
Sir. Pleasure. Pleasure.
Joy. Thank you for everything you do for us. And I really appreciate you. My grandma was saying us always, use good names to your children because they carry their names, energy. And you are the greatest example for that. Thank you.
Thank you, Nestle. It's an honor. Thank you so much.
And now we have a little bit time limitations because after 8 o'clock, we are going to lockdown. Everybody must be at homes. So that I want to talk with all of our guests. And there is YOUSSEF, SAHEB, YOUSSEF, and I can't say enough things to confess my gratitude to you. How many?
Very kind.
How many comments we wrote with you under other posts? Maybe millions during the last years. I appreciate you because you are a great leader. You are a great caregiver and you are a great servant leader. Would you please tell us how you made yourself like today's great leader over LinkedIn, but also for humanity because you care everybody and you do your best to be with everybody.
Thank you so much, Nestle, for the very, very nice, very, very humbling introduction. I really, really appreciate it. It's a pleasure and an honor to obviously share this stage with some of my amazing friends from around the world. I would like to obviously thank YAVUZ and yourself for this amazing initiative to actually bring together some of the really, really, I would say thought leaders from around the world. to talk about different elements and different aspects to do with business and business leadership and continuity, so to speak, and processes, which I think hopefully will assist a lot of people. But I mean, to answer your question, Nestle, and this is I'm not being humble here in front of the camera, but the first thing that came to mind when you said that, you know, I'm regarded as a leader on LinkedIn, etc. I don't see myself as a leader. The first thing that comes to mind is Robert Frost's, you know, poem, you know, walking by the woods on a snowy evening. You know, I've got miles to go before I sleep, miles to go before I sleep. So that is something which I always keep in mind. So the main thing which I always try and do is always keep in mind that, you know, am I able to look at myself in the mirror every single night and basically be proud of the reflection staring back at me? And that is something which I always sort of focus on every single day. And that stems on my core beliefs and principles, which basically just stand on one thing and one thing alone, which is integrity. And, you know, that is something which, you know, people who have worked with me, you know, closely, whether on a personal as well as on a professional level, would be able to attest to it. Is that, you know, I will walk away from deals, from mergers, from relationships if there is no integrity involved. So I think, you know, from my perspective, the reason as to why I'm able to sort of connect with people from all around the world, and the thing as to why people are able to sort of resonate with who I am as a person, is because I try to make sure, as I say all the time, that my real life and my real life is one and the same. Simple as that. So I try to focus on that as much as possible. I try to be the same person who people see me online, and when they meet me face to face, I think the biggest sort of feedback, accolade that I have ever received from people who I've met for the first time after they have known me from LinkedIn is they have told me that you are exactly the same as you appear online in person. I think that is the best kind of feedback that one can receive. So thank you for the lovely introduction. It's an honor to be part of this panel.
You deserve more. You can be sure. And yes, you may not say you as a leader, but you are a leader, because leaders don't need to say that I am leader. But if you support others, if you care others, and if you say something for betterment of themselves, it means you are already a natural leader. This is important. And those leadership styles more over LinkedIn and over the world also.
Spot on. Spot on. And if I can just interject just a little bit, Nestle, and actually bring about something which a very close connection of all of us, Ahmad Imam from Australia, he just did this, you know, 50 most impactful leaders on LinkedIn, of which you are a part of as well, Nestle. And, you know, that is the main thing. That is what business leaders or any other sort of department leaders need to focus on. They need to literally take away the word influence out of their dictionary. You know, forget trying to influence people around you. Try to provide value and make an impact. That is what will set you apart. You know, being impactful instead of trying to be influential. And, you know, if you're impactful, as you've rightly said, I mean, if you're impactful, if you're delivering value to whatever you're doing, through whatever you're doing, to people who you're meeting and conversing with, people will resonate with who you are as a person. So, and that is what makes all the difference in today's world. Yeah.
And you made how many sessions of Create the Age?
I don't even know. I can't even remember. Like it is honestly, I mean, in my opinion, I mean, this is something which is very, very close to my heart, because obviously, you know, I met Brother Joy from Malaysia, and we started doing Create the Edge, which is basically bringing real life conversations from business leaders from around the world in a vlog style sort of offering, so to speak, which was never done on LinkedIn prior to that. And it was something which a lot of people really hopefully got a lot of value of, and we enjoy doing it. We've had 2 seasons, as you would know. First season was in 2019, second season was in 2020. So hopefully next year, Joy and I will be back together with season 3 of Create the Edge, and it's basically just getting the real life stories out there, and how one can create the edge. Create the edge. The name of the show, the name of our venture, because Joy and I also do a lot of SME advisory through the Create the Edge umbrella, so to speak. So that is basically an acronym. It's not just a name which we thought would actually just be great to get out there into the business community. It's an acronym which stands for, each and every word. Create the Edge stands for something specific in the business world, in the employee engagement space, etc. So if you go onto my LinkedIn profile, it's got a breakdown of what Create the Edge stands for as an acronym as well. So yeah, it's been an honor and a pleasure. That is definitely, I light up whenever I talk about Create the Edge. And it's because not just because of obviously the amazing guests that we have had on the show from around the world. We have spoken to over 100 thought leaders from around the world in both our seasons. And it's also because, the brotherhood that I share with the gentleman who spoke prior, Joy Abdullah. I see him as my elder brother. We speak on very often. Nowadays, not that much, because we are both a little bit busy with a few of our personal ventures as well. But we both know that if there is something we need to ask each other, we are just a phone call away. We're just a message away. And that's the kind of relationships that people need to start building. Relationships which are built on mutual value provision, not just having some kind of an ulterior motive attached to it. And that's what I focus on in my work through in what I do with sales, business development, and marketing, and in my management consulting sphere. So
I have a question. If we have
sure, absolutely, go ahead.
I've heard your amazing presentation, and also Mr. Joy Abdullah, and you both talk about authenticity, which and consistency. But I feel, I don't know what Madonna will say about it, but it seems that as women in business and in other social engagement, it seems that the expectation, it's difficult to find authenticity, because when you look at a really exciting, the girl who is always enthusiastic, or it's always, we don't fit in easily. I don't know what.
Misread.
So what would be authenticity for a woman in business?
That is a great question, and even though I'm not a woman, of course, I will try and answer it from a woman's perspective, because I do sort of work very closely on other collaborative fronts with some amazing thought leaders who are women. So the main thing which I have noticed, number one, is that as everyone knows across the LinkedIn framework, that I absolutely believe in the fact that women are the true architects of society. So let's just leave that aside. They are very important in any sphere, so to speak. But apart from that, what I have noticed, and this is something which senior thought leaders, senior business leaders who are women, and I have discussed, is like, in general, if a woman is doing really well in their specific business sphere, they will unfortunately have other women trying to bring them down. And this is something which a lot of people from different industries, from different cultures, from different companies, different countries have told me, who are women. So that is something which in my opinion is something which needs to be addressed. It's not about the tall poppy syndrome, as we like to say in Australia, where basically anyone who's trying to do well, do better, etc., you know, you pull them down because you don't want them to succeed where you might have, you know, not made it yourself. But just apart from that, from the authenticity, you know, specter, there are so many people out there, and especially women, you know, who are scared to come out, especially on social media, and show who they are as a person, because you will have, and you know, this is something which I apologize, you know, on behalf of my gender. There are tons of men out there who are perverts, absolute perverts, who will do the wrong thing, who will sort of take a smile that a woman may actually you know, provide on a very professional basis, and you know, basically sort of put that to be something of a more personal nature, and that is something which a lot of women are scared about, and you know, they do not want unnecessary advances from men or from other people who they have no interest apart from just being a business acquaintance, for example, and this is something which happens all the time. But you know, the main thing to the best way to go about it is just keep being yourself, and just basically you know, have an invisible wall around you where basically you are able to get out the naysayers, get out the people, you know, who you don't want you know, within your trusted circle, so to speak. And you're not, you know, it takes time, you know, it takes time to develop a thick skin, so to speak, but you can only develop a thick skin once you actually try doing it. So it's so important to just keep being you. You just you know, work with certain mentors and coaches, because that definitely assists, that definitely helps a lot of people you know, get past their inner you know, self beliefs which are holding them back sometimes. So yeah, authenticity is obviously very, very important, regardless of gender. So, but I do understand that obviously, you know, in social media, women definitely, you know, it's both ways. Women have it better as well as worse, in my opinion. So you know, because you know, that's just my opinion, where you know, with women in social media, so to speak. So, but you know, to answer your question, Lorraine, you just have to keep being authentic, and I'd love to actually hear what Madonna has to say with regards to this later on.
Well, I'm not a businesswoman. That's why I cannot answer well this question. But as you said, sir, by being yourself, by being authentic, you can prove yourself. As many businesswomen did and proved themselves now in the domain and this field. So when you are real, you can do it. And as you said, we do have some positive sides also. Being a woman, sometimes you get noticed quickly. You have to take this as an advantage. So be yourself and you can make it. That's it.
Very well said. Thank you for chiming in and helping me out there, Madonna. I appreciate it.
Thanks to you.
And I didn't introduce Lorraine to our friends. I met with Lorraine and Mr. YAVUZ ALTUN over LinkedIn. Mr. YAVUZ found me, then we met, and he introduced his wonderful book about exponential growth. So we are now in this situation. We are together with Mr. YAVUZ's efforts, in fact. And Mr. YAVUZ introduced me with Lorraine. Lorraine has a wonderful past in HR. She is doing her best for job seekers and also HR wing in both parts, so that we are together with her and with all of you. And thank you for everything you do for us, first of all. And I want to ask one more question to
Sure.
Sure. What is your suggestion for our millennials? And also, you are a supporter of job seekers. We are in many projects together with you. Our friends tag us ask our helps, even if we can't help them to find a physical job. We support them with our comments. So that what is your suggestion to them to be courageous, to be hopeful? We know many of them are so desperate nowadays.
Absolutely, and you know, I don't blame them, honestly. And this is something which a lot of people actually know about me. You know, I've been on LinkedIn for just over 2 years now, and the reason I actually started on LinkedIn was because I was at that point when I started LinkedIn was I was advised by a few friends to actually start on LinkedIn because, you know, it was a great place to meet recruiters, because at that moment in my personal life, I was looking at my next career opportunity, so to speak. So, you know, I have done all the mistakes, so to speak, which I see job seekers do at this present moment myself. Like, you know, just connecting directly with recruiters, sending through like right in the beginning, like my resume, you know, asking for a job right in the beginning without actually, you know, building that relationship, because, you know, that is something which at that moment I understand the desperation that people get into, which clouds judgment. Now, this is something which is very, very important, not just from a job seeker's perspective, but also from a business owner's perspective. Desperation clouds judgment, period. So the moment when you feel that you're going to do something which is, you know, just outside your comfort zone, and you're not very certain, and you are second guessing yourself to an extent, you need to just take a moment of pause and basically just see as to, you know, what are the repercussions that may come about with regards to your own personal branding, with regards to how you are regarded by your target audience, by the person who you're speaking to, etc. So, I mean, my advice to job seekers at this present moment was pretty similar to what Brother Rishad said, you know, right at the beginning. And he mentioned along these lines, this is the perfect time where a lot of people who are in the midst of, who have lost their jobs, number one, or who are looking at a different career opportunity, for them to sort of seek out what else they can do to basically add a few more arrows to their quiver of knowledge. So, you know, just try and do certain amounts of self-development exercises, you know, personal development, you know, look at, you know, additional stuff that you can actually do. So let's say, for example, if you are in the sales field, for example, right, in the sales and business development field and marketing field, which I am part of, see what else you can sort of add to it. Like, would you be better off doing a Six Sigma course in project management, you know, to add that as an additional part to your CV to weigh it a little bit? Or, you know, could you do a course on SEO and SEM optimization, for example? Or, you know, do you want to do something, you know, just an additional course with regards to like big data and AI? Or, you know, if you have only been, you know, in the sales and business development field in one particular industry, so to speak, like, for example, construction or finance, do some kind of an additional course, for example, which makes you, you know, an attractive element to recruiters in another industry, for example, like IT. So, I mean, you know, what are the little things that you can do with regards to, at this present moment, when the world is in a moment of perpetual pause, in this time of COVID clarity, which I like to say, what are the little things that you can do to actually sort of bolster your own, you know, efforts, bolster your own, you know, stuff that you have, your own accolades, you know, add to the little things that you can do, so that you're regarded as more valuable to recruiters moving forward. And of course, you know, just focus on building that relationship. You know, focus on basically figuring out the companies that you'd like to work for. That's number one. The country that you'd ideally like to work for. At this present moment, when I see job seekers, I live in Singapore. When I see job seekers from outside Singapore sort of asking me or sending me their resume, that's the biggest mistake you could be doing. There is no point you trying to sort of apply to a job in another country, because chances are the borders are closed. Even if you are the best fit, you may not be, you know, regarded for that position. So you're hitting yourself in the foot, quite literally. So focus on your country where you're at. There are opportunities at every corner. You just have to look hard enough. Simple as that. Try and do something which is a little bit, maybe a couple of levels lower than what you are doing. If you have lost your job, there is always time for you to be able to build up. There is always, let's say, for example, if you are earning, I'm just giving a hypothetical example, if you're earning $5,000 on a monthly basis, and you are not being able to get any jobs, but you are seeing certain jobs which are maybe $3,500 or $4,000, go for it. At least that's at least some money coming in for you to be able to stabilize your present situation at home, your personal situation, because finances can heavily impact your mental sanity, so to speak. So, and that is absolutely essential at this present moment to keep your mental, to keep yourself sane against whatever is happening at this moment. So take those positions, take those opportunities. You never know what may come of it once things get back to normal. So, there are no jobs at this present moment, which is beneath you. The moment you take that out of your brain and you look at every opportunity and weigh it with the risk reward functionality, so to speak, that's what job seekers should look at. Build relationships with people in companies that you'd ideally like to work for. Interact with their posts if they are on LinkedIn. Go out, ask to catch up for a cup of coffee face to face after they've known you for maybe a couple of weeks, after you've interacted with them on their posts or with their shares. If they do articles, etc., be supportive and then meet with them, just so that when you go out and talk to them, they will recognize you, and they will already have that warm feeling of already knowing you as a person rather than just a number or an applicant, so to speak. Even today, and this is something which is so true, and I'm sure that we've had discussions about it in previous sessions, and we will be having discussions on this later on as well. It's most jobs, especially in today's market, are filled even before they're actually sort of advertised. So it's all about the referral networks. It's all about people knowing people, people resonating with people, people getting to understand the value that you provide yourself. So as a job seeker, try to be more active on social media, perhaps on LinkedIn, to basically show your target audience with regards to what you specialize in. What are the things that you bring to the table? What makes you different? What is your strategic differentiator, so to speak? Why should a recruiter look at you and pick you from hundreds, maybe thousands of other people who applied for the same job? So, what are the things that get you to stick out and basically sort of stand out from your competition? That is very, very important. Hope that answers your question.
Yes, it was wonderful. Thank you. I can talk with all of you. We can talk together till the morning, but our situation. We will do our best to give our messages together with your caring words, in fact. And thank you, Joseph Saheb. If
My pleasure.
Maybe we can have questions from Lorraine and Mr. Yavuz, but we have Christy and Madonna also.
Yes, we have so less time, NESLIHAN, because we have lockdown. If we stay more, we couldn't be able to go to our house.
I know.
We can ask next time. Thank you very much, Joseph. It was a great presentation. We learned a lot from you. Today's our speakers, they have chosen their subject maybe more than many universities. It was great pleasure for us listening to them.
Thank you very much, Yavuz, and appreciate the opportunity to both yourself and Nestle to share the stage with some truly amazing people. Looking forward to hearing the other speakers.
Next time we would like to invite all of you to Istanbul. I hope if Corona crisis it will be end, we will be way to Istanbul.
It would be an honor. Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you. And Christy report. Warm welcome. and I appreciate you. It's so nice to meet you. We met with you over LinkedIn, and Lorraine will ask you questions. I am leaving you with Lorraine.
I think like Chrissy is a strong leader of her community and over the globe. She has written many bestsellers, and her next book is a true masterpiece in its own right, and I recommend it to everyone. And today and tomorrow, she wanted to address a special a subject that is close to her heart at the moment. It's self-reliance. Unlock your untapped potential in crisis, especially in this moment of COVID. I'll let you speak, Chrissy. Thank you very much to be here.
Oh, so I am talking today. Okay, give me 30 seconds. I'm gonna get it together real fast. Here we go. Can you hear me?
It is nice to see you, Christy. You are our friend from Harvard Business School. We work together program leadership development. Thank you very much for your participation.
Okay. I thought I was on tomorrow. Okay, we're gonna get it together. See how fast when you're at home, how digital platform can work very, very fast. I'm always ready. So I want to say, you know, Joseph, you were awesome. Joy, phenomenal. And then Rashad was amazing. Yeah, he was so good. So okay, so let's talk self-reliance. I do want to share just a little bit about where my career. I spent 16 and a half years in the Coast Guard, and I burned out. I burned out because I was doing too much. I burned out because I wasn't taking care of myself. I'm a high achiever. I like to win, to serve. And so I think a lot of challenges that leaders have, leaders were on fire long before the coronavirus showed up, long before we got into self-isolation, long before 2020 came around. A lot of leaders were already burning up and burning out. And so why did we burn up and burn out? One, doing too much. Two, we're serving and we never give ourselves permission to take care of ourselves. And as I was listening to the gentleman earlier, leaders are on fire. So it's how do you manage the crisis at work while you have the compound crisis at home? Never before did leaders have to worry about their parents getting sick or their children getting sick or not coming into the office. And as Joy talked about earlier, being at home with their children, you know, being at home with their spouses, and now having to stop and take responsibility for where they are right now, which is hard because it's easy for us to run. It's easier to run and never turn around and look back and say, I don't have the glossy life that I thought I have. So I burned out because doing too much, serving too much, mentoring 90 people. And so there's a long story with that. And so I ended up moving in with my brother for 3.5 years because once I stopped, ladies and gentlemen, I exploded in 1,000 pieces. Like I had nothing left to give. And for the first year I slept and I was like, Chrissy, that was so dumb. And as we're talking about, Rishad talked about consciousness and he was talking about Eckhart Tolle. And I was like, oh, he's speaking my language, you know, and I started sitting up in my seat because we are in a place right now where leaders, if we choose, are shifting into it. Okay. Are shifting. Can y'all hear me or no?
Yes, we are here.
Okay, great. Yeah. Okay, yeah. Leaders are shifting into a new era of consciousness. But the first thing is to get clear on ourselves and who we want to be now. Because a lot of times we're living a lie And when you're at home, stuck in the house with your family and your children, you can't lie anymore. So I always talked about a lot of leaders are going to burn out from home more than they would outside of home, because you now have to look at and take responsibility for what you are not doing, because high achievers are always seeking the next best thing. We're never satisfied with the award that we got, that we worked 5 years for and 80 hours a week, because we're on to the next thing. We're never satisfied with getting the kids in the private school, which was a big deal. But now that is normal, because we're now thinking about which Ivy League college we're going to get them into, and Harvard, we're going to get them into Harvard or Stanford. And so we never, y'all see I'm getting loud, I get passionate. We never stop long enough to smell the roses. And the problem that people are having now, especially I think one of my clients in Singapore, actually in Hong Kong, I think they're in the 3rd or the 4th wave, is that staying in the house now has brought some peace, because they can now confess to their inner chaos, but it's also created dissension in so many other people because they're still unwilling to admit where they are right now. And you can't change what you're unwilling to admit to. So I want to talk about self-reliance, because when I was in my brother's house, broke for 3.5 years, because I burned out and I could not get up. I was psychologically unemployable. Has anybody, Joy, were you there? I couldn't work because I never stopped, and I just was trained that ran into a brick wall. And how do you get up? As Joseph was talking about, you know, some people don't want to take a lower paying job. How can you clearly see who you are and where you are? And so a lot of people ask, you know, Christy, what was your turning point? Because I thought I would die in my brother's house. It was self-isolation for 3.5 years. So as people were talking about their first 2 months, I'm like, I've been there already. When you look at the ugliness of who life has made you, I've been there already. You know, losing all your money and your greatest fear coming true and selling my house and my car, I've been there already. And so now the other side of it, I think that a part of my mission is to tell people it's going to be okay. You can lose your house and you can be broke and you can lose your car and you can move in with family members and you won't die there unless you choose to die there. You won't die of shame. I clearly thought I died 5 times. I kept waking up in the morning. It's just like, oh, you can't die in this much pain. I thought that I would be arrested driving and I only had $1. I thought it was illegal, and your mind starts playing tricks on you when you lose all your money. I had $1 in my pocket and I wanted to drive to see my parents, and I thought it was illegal. And I had to say, Christy, wait, what do you need to drive? Well, you need a valid driver's license, enough gas in the car, and insurance. And I was in my brother's house and I said, well, I have those things. We'll get in the car. So a huge turning point was when I started to learn self-reliance. And I want to read a little bit of, okay, the sun just went behind a huge cloud, but I think y'all can still see me. But I want to read a passage from one of my favorite books. It's called The Majesty of Calmness by William George Jordan. And it was published in the late 1800s. And he talked about self-reliance without self-confidence is as useless as a cooking recipe without food. Self-confidence sees the possibilities of the individual. Self-reliance realizes them. So this is key. The man who is self-reliant says ever, no one can realize my possibilities for me but me. No one can make me good or evil but myself. And so as all of these articles are coming out and they're telling business leaders that they're going to lose, and women are especially going to lose, according to McKinsey and Bloomberg. And how can people tell you what your destiny is going to be? You are the master of your fate and the captain of your soul. Yeah. So he said, man to be great must be self-reliant. Though he may not be so in all things, he must be self-reliant in the one in which he would be great. This is the time for you to get clear on who you are. What's the one gift that you have to bring to humanity? What's the one thing? Because brilliant people can do 10 things very, very well. right? The problem with being a great leader is you can do 10 things. So when I got out, I'm selling coffee, personality tests, and I'm selling everything, and I'm failing at everything. And the man above said, it's just not time for you to come back out because you're still a little crazy. And but I failed at a lot. And 4 years later, when I told my friends that I was gonna start training leaders and I was gonna be a coach, they were like, really, Christy, that's what you do. I mentored 90 leaders in my previous career. I did the leadership training. That's who you are. And so sometimes, ladies and gentlemen, your greatness is tattooed on your forehead. Purpose is tattooed on your forehead. Everybody can see it, but you can't see it. And so I want you to consider, what is the one thing that everybody calls you for? What is something that people ask you for, and what can you monetize in this moment? I have a friend who doesn't have a job now, but he's a photographer. He took my pictures in the Bahamas. They are amazing. And I was like, dude, you can be a photographer. People have money. They'll invest in a photographer. And he gave me all the reasons why he couldn't do it, but he has that gift in this moment. So what gifts do you have in you that are monetizable in this moment? The things that you give away for free. He took my pictures for free. Amazing. I would have paid him. I would have paid a photographer $3,000 to take those pictures. So one more thing. He said, this self-reliance is not self-sufficiency of conceit. It is daring to stand alone, be an oak, not a vine. Be ready to give support, but do not crave it. Do not be dependent on it. Be an oak. You have to learn how to stand on your own. And leaders have learned how to stand on our own, but sometimes we can be bitter and resentful about it. But when you're down for the count, and when you're laid out and life has worn you out, instead of looking for other people to tell that you're great because you're in a cone of silence when you don't have a job, and I don't think that we know how much, I kind of want to say it, but we're adults here. I don't think that leaders know how much people kiss our ASS until we don't get it anymore. You know, like, I don't think that we realize how much we love power until we don't have it anymore. And it is intoxicating, and it is amazing, and it is, you can drown in it. But when you don't have it, you starve for it. When you don't have your title anymore, you feel like you're a nobody and you have nothing to give to the world. And when you walk in the room and nobody can just sense your greatness and smell your expensive perfume or cologne and just stand up in your very presence, well, you don't have that anymore. The sorrow, been there, done that. The sorrow and the mind trickery and the mourning that happens to your great facade, right? The person that you pretended to be to make everybody like you, the person that you pretended to be to impress other people, the person that you pretended to be so people wouldn't try to tear you down is gone. And now you're left with yourself. And I know that Rishad and Joy talked about this. It's, who are you now without that title? Who are you without people introducing you as whatever your title is? So when people say, Christy, you know, who are you? What do you do? I tell them, I'm a general hustler and a unicorn rider, right? You have to Google me to find out how great I am. But I used to tell you in your face and want you to give me something that I need. I'm going to sniff your respect and your admiration for me because I needed to get high. And we don't have that anymore. And so at this point, if you're down, and I just want to bring that out and acknowledge it because we all know it. We're all high achievers. We're all leaders. We're all powerful people. We know what it's like to have power. And when you don't have it anymore, it creates so much pain for your suffering soul, but you're not alone. So at this point, you have to become an oak and not a vine. You have to be able to pump yourself up and be your own hype man and not reach out for other people to give it to you anymore. He said, be ready to give support, but do not crave it. Do not be dependent on it. And so many women are waiting for somebody to give them permission to slow down. Women are waiting for people to give them permission to be great. And if Joseph talked about earlier, you have to be great. Don't wait for somebody to give that to you. And the last part is, he says, the man who is self-reliant does not live in the shadow of someone else's greatness. He thinks for himself, depends on himself, and acts for himself. And to develop it, we're always seeking constantly to surpass others. We must seek to surpass ourselves. So how can you become a greater leader in this time? How can you become a greater being in this time? Because it's up to you. And then when you stand on your own, now you can give from the overflow. And you can really tell people, like I tell people, it's gonna be okay. You will not die in the darkness. You won't die because you don't have a title. You won't die if you run out of money, only if you give up. But man to be great must be self-reliant in the one thing in which he will be great. So whatever you're giving away for free, that is your gift to bring to the world. That is your gift to bring to business. And when you find that, people will pay you for it. That's all I have.
Thanks so much.
Wonderful.
It was a great presentation.
Thank you.
Yeah. Now, we will talk tomorrow with Christy again. We appreciate her. And we have Madonna today. And I kindly want to talk with her also, because she is living in an area that they are experiencing some painful moments more than many of us. She is living in Lebanon, and I appreciate all of the people around the world, but some areas of the world are like my own sisters, own brothers are living over there, like the people in Lebanon, because we have soul connections with many people over there, like Madonna. And dearest Madonna, you are a teacher, you are a good worker. Yes. When I saw your first post in our group, we are in a group of Goodwill ambassadors. Yes. I remember that I told myself that, wow, this is wonderful post. So we met over LinkedIn, and you are one of the greatest souls I met over LinkedIn. I appreciate you so much.
Thank you. I want to say something about you, Nesli. Just one thing. You're the type of person who gives and gives and never asks for anything in return. We do appreciate you a lot. I'm very proud to be your friend.
Thank you. Same. And likewise for all of you. We are a huge family over LinkedIn, also offline friends, sisters, brothers like you, and all of our guests here with us and during the sessions also. And tell us how is going on everything over Lebanon and your story, and tell us your messages, please.
Okay. First, I want to tell you that 2020 is the worst year in the history of Lebanon. And that is due to many reasons. A huge economic crisis, total collapse of the currency. Our currency lost its value. A heightened social and political instability. And also the pandemic, this horrible pandemic, the loss and death and suffering caused by this pandemic, and the ways it has divorced us from the people we love and the habits and the routines we rely on. But the worst of the worst was this year Beirut blast, this huge explosion that did not only kill around 200 people and injured more than 6,000 people, and left hundreds of thousands without homes, homeless, without shelter, and caused billions of dollars of damage. It left deep wounds in our hearts. deep wounds that cannot be healed. It left the trauma and grief in the eyes of our children. Yet, with all its magnitude, it did not prevail over the Lebanese powerful will to survive. Yes, we survived. Will we forget? I don't think so. Such thing cannot be forgotten. But we have to keep on walking. Hopefully, the phoenix will rise again.
Yeah, so good. And you are a wonderful teacher. I learned many things from you. And
thank you.
How you chose the occupation, and also what is your career choice? What brought you to this with this career choice?
Well, I decided to be a teacher to show that not only the students with good grades can have a brilliant future, every student can have a brilliant future. I decided to be a teacher to show that a failing a grade doesn't mean a failing student. Every student has his weaknesses and his strengths. The teacher has to highlight on the strengths that each student has. The teacher here should help him have confidence in himself. I decided to be a teacher to show that the classroom should be a comfortable place for all types of students. I decided to be a teacher to show that the classroom is also for the reserved ones, the bullied ones, the shy ones. You know, Nestle, in every profession, you can make a difference in people's lives. You are making right now a difference in people's lives. But in being a teacher, you can touch this difference. You can feel it. You can influence the behavior of your students. You can shape their future. Really, teaching is a mission. It's not only a profession. It is a sacred mission.
Yes, I know. And you're a goodwill worker, and you are a heart-centered person.
That's a nice thing.
We have time limitations, I know, but I want to receive your message as a heart-centered person for more love, because I know you share those type of posts every time to spread hope and love.
Thank you.
A message from over there, and how to be courageous and passionate from an enjoyed heart from over there. Tell us.
Well, in order to lead well others, you have to lead well yourself. It all starts from within, from inside. And to lead well yourself, you have to start by accepting your weaknesses, embracing them instead of ignoring them and hiding them. You have to control your thoughts, because by controlling your thoughts, sometimes your thoughts take you to places where you don't want to go. You have by improving a little bit, at least a little bit every day, by being easy on yourself, because life nowadays isn't easy at all on us. You have to be easy on ourselves and love yourself, because when you love yourself, you can easily love others, starting by your family, loving your family, being supportive, loving your family in a firm way. Like they say in French, une main de fer dans un gant de velours, an iron hand in a velvet glove. When you help your children, you are there for them, but the right way, the firm way. You enlighten their future with education. You show them the right path and not obliging them to take it. Let them choose. When you do this, you become a great leader. And the leader is the one who loves what he's doing and do it with integrity, do it with honesty, do it while being clean from the inside. You don't need great knowledge or superpower to be a great leader. You just need to love what you do and do it with integrity. That's how to become a great leader.
Yes, and thank you, dearest Madonna, for everything.
Thanks to you.
We have time limitation, but
I know.
please tell us one sentence for every guest. Dear Joseph, Saheb, Madonna and Joy, Lorraine and Mr. Yavuz. Then let's close the session.
You want me to say a sentence to everyone?
Yes, the last word.
I want to thank all of you because you taught us a lot today. You were great leaders and great teachers indeed. Thank you.
My gratitude. And
thank you.
You are welcome. And Joseph Saheb.
Well, I mean, honestly, it's been such an amazing last two plus hours at this present moment, where I've learned so much. Gotten to obviously meet a few people who I have not interacted with personally directly before, like Madonna, Lorraine, YAVUZ, Christy as well. So thank you to YAVUZ and yourself, Nesli, for doing this, because it's not just sort of providing insights to other people, but it's also helping us grow our circle of friends, of acquaintances, who do a great job. Obviously, Brother Rishad, he's brilliant. He's not yet here. He's not here anymore at this present moment. But his session was great. I mean, the insights that he brought with regards to his Zen coaching was awesome. Nothing to say apart from awesome stuff about Brother Joy. I've had the honor to obviously work with him for the last couple of years now. He's absolutely fantastic. And I've had the honor to also meet with him, even though we only live 600 kilometers apart, him in Malaysia and me in Singapore. And it was interesting. We actually met right before the COVID situation hit, because I remember on my way back from Malaysia into Singapore, they were having the temperature tests to get back into Singapore at that stage. So the borders are not yet closed. So it was a pleasure to meet him at the beginning of this year. Christy, loved what you said with regards to how important it is for leaders to ensure that they actually look within to make sure that they don't burn out, because this is the situation which a lot of people are unfortunately facing in today's world. And Madonna, thank you so much. I've got immense respect for teachers. I'm the only child of a single mum who was a teacher. And so, in my opinion, teachers are the people who mold the future leaders of tomorrow. So you're doing an awesome job. So kudos to you for being a teacher, for actually leading from the front. And I love what he said with regards to you got into education to make sure that every student has the understanding that they have greatness within them, which they can sort of capture moving forward, not just the ones who have brilliant grades. Lorraine, thank you so much for your amazing questions. Really, really appreciate it. And would love to obviously get to know you better on different forums as well. It's a pleasure to be connected with you. YAVUZ, SELİM, appreciated your little amazing sort of inputs and insights as well during Brother Joy and Brother Rishad's conversations prior. And YAVUZ, ALTUN, thank you so much for doing this. It's an absolute pleasure. You've obviously brought together all of us from around the world. And last but not the least, Nesli, this is just basically reflecting and mirroring what Madonna said when she started her conversation. You do so much for so many people around you. And, thank you so much. We have been connected for a couple of years now, and you do a lot, and which is appreciated, which may not be conveyed, which may not be articulated most of the time. But please remember that you are appreciated for all you do. Blessings to you and to your family.
My honor, my great honor, my endless gratitude. Thank you. And Joy and Christy.
I'll take 30 seconds because Yousssef has already said everything that I could possibly say. So my thanks to, it's a pleasure to meet Madonna, YAVUZ, SELİM, YAVUZ, ALTUN, Christy, Lorraine, and Brother Rishad and I and Yousssef, we've spoken a lot. I'm going to just leave all of us with one thought, and this is the thought that I've come to realize over the past 3-4 years, which is the alphabet U in the word you, Y-O-U, is within you. Remember that you is the human being, the human opposite you. So the you in you is human. Just remember that in every interaction that we have as a teacher, i.e. Madonna, as a coach, Rishad and Christy, Lorraine as career woman, Nestle as the goodwill ambassador coming from Heart Center, YAVUZ ALTUN from being the strategist, and YAVUZ SELİM running the media business. We are human beings at the end of the day. If we just keep our heart, our heart is the you that reaches out to you, the human being. The you connects. That's all. Have a great evening. Thank you so much. It's been an utter pleasure to be here. An honor, absolutely.
Yeah, honor for us. And Christy, it's so nice to meet you. We will meet again. We can have a few messages before closing.
Definitely, Nestle. Thanks so much for hosting. And I was texting Lorraine. I was like, "Oh, I don't think I was supposed to go today." So thank y'all for indulging me in the preview for my message tomorrow. I get a lot of emails. Apparently, I'm confused. But so Nestle, thank you for being a phenomenal host. Joy, you were just amazing. I took notes actually.
Yes,
as I was talking, because I wanted to weave some of the things that we said. And so, Lorraine and YAVUZ, I think that you've put together and curated the perfect group of people to talk about not only about business, because as we know, business is business, money is money, but we're in a time now where we need to become more heart-centered and think about each other, but also take time to take care of ourselves. So, so Joy, you were amazing. And we've also communicated in the inbox. Joseph, absolutely amazing. One of the things that Madonna said when she talked about children and their grades, my grades were terrible in school.
And you're shining.
Yeah, because I'm an entertainer. And I didn't pay attention because there are so many kids to entertain in class. Why would I do my work? And so I was labeled a troublemaker. And I did have one teacher that saw my gift and helped me bring that out as opposed to condemning me for it. So I appreciate the insight that you talked about in teachers, because apparently I'm a super nerd and I had no idea, because it's teachers are the ones who are, I think, the most underappreciated people, but now parents are appreciating them because they're actually at home with their kids. So I appreciate all the insight that you shared. And YAVUZ, SELİM, thanks for asking the smart questions to bring out the brilliance in Rishad and Joy, and YAVUZ, ALTUN, and Lorraine. Thank you for just being amazing people, and I appreciate y'all.
Yes. We appreciate all of you. Thank you. Mr. YAVUZ.
We started with Bashar with heart, and we ended with Madonna with heart. We are trying to touch anyone's heart if it is possible. Of course, it is not easy. It is so difficult, but just what we have in our hands, we are trying to share with the world. NESLIHAN, you are really great hero. With great heart, because it needs a lot of effort and concentration and focus. You gave all of your heart. This last month we decided to do this submit, and in a very short amount of time you prepared everything, and Lorraine also helped. Thank you so much for all our speakers. It is great honor for us. We have lockdown. I want to move to you, Neslia.
Yes. And Lorraine.
Just 3 words. I'm humbled by all the speakers, and it's really humbling to listen to you. And our hearts goes to Lebanon, and we think about you more than you think. And if we can help your school, please let us know. in our tiny possibilities, we will do anything we can.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you so much for to be a brilliant servant leader. Thank you. In this
Thank
tough
you.
time.
Thanks to you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
We are closing our session. We are in gratitude for all of us. You didn't leave us till the end of the session. Thank you for being with us. Good evening, good night, and
good evening. Bye.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank
Bye.
you. Bye.
Bye. Take care.
Bye.
Thank you so much.
Bye.